Rodgers started with this one, and I think it's the biggest one. We'll dive into retirement, but I want to talk deadline. I want to talk money. He said this about a deadline, quote, "Listen, this entire time I haven't felt like I owed somebody any decision at some point. I've been upfront with them about that. If you need to move on, call me by any means. There's been no deadline. And yeah, I've talked to Mike Tomlin many times." Sounds like Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers have had at least some discussion about when a deal should be put into place. And right now, there is no deadline. So we'll start there. And from what I have been told, the Pittsburgh Steelers have at no point told Aaron Rodgers, you got to make a decision right now. You need to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers or retire or go to the Vikings or whatever today, tomorrow, next week, doesn't matter. There have been rumors out there. There's been plenty of speculation about when it should happen, but there's been absolutely no confirmation from the Pittsburgh Steelers to Aaron Rodgers to say, you need to make a decision today, again, tomorrow, before the draft, before training camp, whenever. They have looked at this from day one and said, we do not know when Aaron Rodgers is going to make a decision, but we are open to when Aaron Rodgers does make that decision. The Pittsburgh Steelers are looking at it very clearly and saying, we have to protect ourselves. I think they did that with Mason Rudolph. I think they'd like to do that a little bit more, and that's why they had interest in Joe Flacco. They probably have interest in Carson Wentz. They've been scouting every single quarterback possible in the NFL draft. I think all of those are real. The Pittsburgh Steelers are protecting themselves to understand that Aaron might never give a decision. That might actually be a real thing. But at the same time, they have never once said, Aaron, you have to give us a decision by this date. And I don't think that changes. Now, should they? Yeah, definitely. Why would you not? Why would Aaron Rodgers or anybody else sit here and listen to the Pittsburgh Steelers and say, or watch the Pittsburgh Steelers and say, you should be incredibly loose with Aaron Rodgers. You should actually let him do whatever he wants and decide whenever he wants if he's coming to your team. That's what you should do. That's the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not even close. If the Steelers were a team that looked at this and said, we need an answer by X date, they'd be in a better situation. They would be. Because at that point, you can move on to plan B or plan C if Rodgers was your plan B or whatever you're at, and sit here and say, okay, it is time for us to move on in a different direction. But where we stand today, they don't have that direction. They do not have a deal in place or anything resembling a deal in place, or not a deal in place, a deadline in place for Aaron Rodgers. They are okay with whenever he signs or whenever they get an answer. The second one was money. And Rodgers saying $10 million was fascinating to me because I believe him. I don't not believe that he would play for $10 million, but I doubt he's going to get a contract for $10 million from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That obviously is the number that he stuck with. I'd play for 10 M's. And he said it as if that's not a big deal. As if me, you, and everybody else in this chat didn't sit there and go, yeah, bro, I'd play for 10 M's too. Sounds good. Like, what do we, is that nothing to you? I get it. Highest paid player in NFL history. Different situation. But it was, and again, side note, not judging Rodgers for this one, congratulating him, if anything, to be able to sit there and very relaxed act as if $10 million is not a lot of money. Pal, you're living a different life than I. $10 million is not what I expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I will say this, that it matches up with what I've been told about how the Steelers have offered Aaron Rodgers one contract and have not budged from that contract, and he has not complained about them not budging from that contract. At no point have I heard or have been told anything different throughout this entire process. It is Aaron Rodgers respects that the Pittsburgh Steelers have given him one deal, and there has really not been a strong back and forth about money, that it's just been pretty much about Aaron Rodgers trying to decide about the Pittsburgh Steelers or not the Pittsburgh Steelers, and if he wants to come to Pittsburgh or doesn't. At no point was it, he's got a better deal from New York, because even when New York had a deal on the table, A lot of it was the Pittsburgh Steelers are very confident that they're going to land Aaron Rodgers and that they're the best team for him, and they aren't budging on the money, and he's very okay with that. He's not looking for more money. I respect it. To be very real, I respect it because Aaron Rodgers was very open today and said a lot of things that I think people will look at and try to turn into a negative and say condescending and this and that. When it comes to the money, I thought he was truthful because everything I've heard going into that was exactly Aaron Rodgers is not looking for that type of money. He's just looking to decide if it's the best fit for him. And well, the Steelers might be, but they have one offer on the table. I would imagine it's $20 million. That's a total guess, but I would imagine that it's $20 million, and that is the offer the Pittsburgh Steelers have given Aaron Rodgers, and they have not moved it one time. Maybe $25 million, but it is not higher than that. That's not what I believe, at least. I'm, again, totally guessing on this, but it's not. I would not imagine it's $30+ million. And after today, I'd be lowering that down to 15 and saying, okay, well, you said you'd pay for 10. So there it is. Sounds good.